The Bermuda DDR Center coordinator cries out that people in high places in Cameroon do not want to see an end to the armed conflicts rocking and hitting the northwest and southwest English-speaking regions of Cameroon. The coordinator cries out that these top officials in some high places in Cameroon are benefiting and eating fat from the bloodbath rocking the Anglophone regions of Cameroon. The armed conflict is running for over 5 years now. Meantime, the Popular Action political party has lashes out on the government of Cameroon over the sentencing of some top officials of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, an opposition CRM political party in Cameroon. In this edition of the news, we shall be talking the road to the African Cup of Nations on a series of reports linked to the AFCON 2021 stage in Cameroon, as the second international team has landed on Cameroon. It is Sudan that was built to arrive Cameroon yesterday did not, but finally arrived Cameroon today. Adding to Ethiopia, we have two teams already ahead of the competition present in Cameroon. Thanks for choosing to get information on the best of television channel Equinoxe. We are on to our prime time newscast. We live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city, Equinoxe Central News Desk. We begin on our top story to talk about the communique of the Popular Action political party following the detention of some militant or the sentencing of some militants of the CRM political party. But let's talk about the officials who've been sentenced, to say that the series of sentencing and jailing of opposition Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM political party officials continue in Cameroon after the sentencing of Professor Alain Foguet, Professor who is the national treasurer of the CRM political party, Mr. Bibou Nisak, who is spokesperson of the national president of the CRM political party, and Jofo Ngabu, who is also a top official of the party. Yesterday, December the 27th, 2021, the national women's president of the CRM political party, Awosum Mispa, and Pascal Zambwe have also been handed a 7-year jail term in a decision that was taken by the military tribunal in the nation's political party of Professor Maurice Kamto was sentenced in a hearing at the military tribunal in Yaoundé this morning, December the 28th, 2021. And after the sentencing of these officials of the CRM political party, an opposition political party in Cameroon, one of the sister opposition political party, the PAP, Popular Action Political Party, is on the line as one of the first parties to show solidarity reacting over the incident. The PAP political party says following the sentencing of some CRM party officials on Monday the 29th of December 2021 by the military tribunal in Yaoundé, the Popular Action Party has once again taken cognizance of the lack of any political will by the regime to engage in any meaningful dialogue with political opponents. Imprisoning politicians is a resounding signal that the ruling class lacks the stamina to measure up with any contradictions, rather than collaborating with the opposition for a more vibrant Cameroon. The imprisonment of Professor Alain Foguet, Olivier Bibou Nisak, Mispa Awasom, alongside other CRM party militants, reaffirms the regime's hidden agenda, that of igniting Cameroonians to violence. It should be recalled that other prisoners of conscience, like those of Stand Up for Cameroon and victims of the ongoing Anglophone war, are all glaring examples. To this, the Popular Action Party, the PAP, once again calls on all Cameroonians at home and abroad, political parties, civil society, as well as partners of Cameroon, to all rise up in one voice and call Yaoundé to order. This is appalling at a time that the country is preparing to host AFCON, that is the Africa Cup of Nations. It does not speak well that this regime continues to tarnish the country's image in the continent and beyond, imprisoning political opponents and innocent civilians for expressing or wanting to express their views is a clear sign of defeat and outright dictatorship on the part of Mr. Biya and his government. We continue to denounce all forms of political intimidations and unlawful detentions. It is signed Jang Dennis, National President of the CRM political party, rather the Popular Action political party, reacting following the detention or the sentencing of some CRM party officials. You recall that Professor Alain Fogue and Bibuni Sak were given a 7-year jail term in a decision by the military tribunal yesterday in Yaoundé, and earlier today, the National Women's President, Mispa of the CRM party, as you see on your screen, was also sent to 7 years in jail by the same court in the nation's political capital city, Yaoundé. On to the northwest region of Cameroon, the coordinator of the Bamenda DDR Center cries out that some people on top positions in Cameroon do not want to see an end to the bloodbath in the northwest and southwest regions. Speaking during an event at the DDR Center in the northwest regional chieftain Bamenda, the coordinator says that these top officials in Cameroon are eating and feeding fat on the war that is causing untold suffering to the people of the two Anglophone regions. Mustela was part of the event in Bamenda and compiled the following report. I will take you to the northwest region of Cameroon to the declaration of the coordinator of the Center for Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Commission, the DDR Center of Bamenda, chieftain of the northwest region, during an event organized for occupants of the DDR Center to mark the end of the year. The coordinator was angry and stated that some people on top positions in Cameroon do not want to see an end to the Anglophone crisis. Bustela.
It's the Christmas season and everyone is planning a smooth end of year and a better start of the year 2022. The former separatist fighters at the Bamenda Center for Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration are also reminding government that they have acquired new skills after dropping their arms and are therefore ready for reintegration.
I've been in the center for getting to 2 years now. I'm waiting for the government to say something on our staying on the center. The more they remove us from the center, the more those who...
The DDR centers of Bamenda, Boya and Mora were created by Presidential Decree number 2018/719 of 30th November 2018 to serve as refuge for ex-separatists and ex-Boko Haram combatants. Kum Henry, Bamenda's DDR coordinator, says the process of getting the fighters leave the bushes is being slowed by people in high places.
There are some people who are doing everything possible for this crisis not to end, because they are benefiting from the crisis. But it is unfortunate because we cannot be benefiting on the blood of human beings. And I'm sending this message to those who are doing that. Let us do everything to stop this crisis. Let us save the lives of our young people. Now we have elites, we have many people, well-placed people, who are in one way or the other not wanting this crisis to end. But I think it should be the collective effort of everybody to let this crisis end.
Kum Henry was speaking shortly after a Peace and Unity soccer tournament, at the end of which the ex-combatants lifted a trophy after beating the administration of Bamenda 2 by 2-1. With the coming of 2022 in few days, the former fighters at the DDR Center in Bamenda are hopeful to be reintegrated back into the society, for the time they have spent at the DDR Center is getting longer than they thought.
And with end-of-year festivities ongoing in several parts of Cameroon, the Cameroon Custom is trying to help locals in suffering, or that is to be able to manage the effect of the high cost of some basic goods. The Cameroonian custom has specialized on the exportation of vegetable oil, and of course, following the current shortage experience in that sector, that of vegetable oil, the Cameroonian custom has, however, in a communique, banned the exportation of vegetable oil from Cameroon to any other country within the African continent and out of the African continent. The custom officials say it is a measure to ensure that the stock available gets consumed by Cameroonians who are suffering the shortage, a shortage which has consequently led to an unbearable hike in the prices of vegetable oil. Note that apart from vegetable oil, we are also experiencing a hike in the prices of other basic goods in Cameroonian market. We shall be talking about this with our guests on today's talking point. Meantime, security officials are not giving a way for men of the underworld to continue to go about their activities in several parts of Cameroon. In the Mongo division of the littoral region of Cameroon, a gang of three specialized in extorting money from passengers have fallen into the dragnet of security officials. Our reporter Immaculate Fogwe tells us that they were specialized in transporting persons and getting to rob them on the National Road number 5. Her report.
The vehicle, matriculated LT131JI, was the main medium used by 3 suspected bandits to crook passengers on board. The gang, operating along the National Road number 5, have been able to swindle hundreds of francs CFA from their passengers. Conrad Dale Ngundo, Public Security Commissioner of Sancho.
They
go about picking up passengers in the Mongo division who want to travel to the West region. In the course of the journey, one of them pretends to have lost a bag which contains the sum of 50 million francs CFA. A woman who is part of the gang plays the role of a trade practitioner. She later claims she's able to multiply any amount of money. A victim recounts her ordeal while traveling in the car. I was picked up in Kongsamba. While in the vehicle, I was asked to give whatever I had on me. So I gave them. They asked me to go home and speak to my family members so they can enable me raise a sum of 1 million francs CFA. Thanks to the negligence of one of the bandits revealed in the course of a phone call conversation. While on a call with the guys, I told them that I was able to raise a sum of 700,000 francs CFA. So they asked me to come and give them. Forgetting to drop the call, I heard them plotting to poison me. Immediately I arrived at site. The divisional officer of Sancho, Jean-Louis Ntou, salutes the efforts of security officers in tracking the suspects while promising that more of such persons will be apprehended in the days, months, or years ahead. The 3 suspects have been kept behind bars at Dunchang Principal Prison while awaiting the final verdict to be given by the competent court.
If they succeeded in delivering human bones to their customers in Betua in the east region of Cameroon, they would have been 42 million francs CFA richer. They are a gang of 3 individuals specialized in digging up graves and extracting human bones for trafficking in several regions of Cameroon. They were intercepted by security officials in Betua in the east region. Inosenaze tells us more in the following report.
The 3 suspected human bone traffickers were arrested by elements of the East Judicial Police Station. They were in possession of 3 human skeletons. According to the police commissioner, Christophe, Abubakar and Gaspar were apprehended following a tip-off given by an informant. Investigation conducted reveals that the skeletons are those of a 70-year-old man who died close to 10 years ago, a boy who died 5 years ago, and that of a man between 30 and 50 years who also died close to 5 years ago.
Et le dernier squelette, c'est celui d'un jeune âgé entre 30 et 50 ans qui lui est décédé il y a près de 5 ans.
If the suspects succeeded in selling the 3 human skeletons, they would have been 42 million francs CFA rich.
Ces gens nous l'ont formellement déclaré.
However, these suspects say they were approached by 4 individuals who pleaded they should help them with their bag of clothes.
Comme ce que je dis, je ne connais pas, donc les gens ils ont venu se blesser. Après ils ont venu se blesser, ils ont parti, c'est l'autre là, il s'appelle qui là?
I don't know the 4 persons except this my brother. They brought the bag. I asked what was inside. They said clothes. My error is that I never controlled the bag. 2 persons who were to buy the skeletons are being hunted by security forces, while the suspected bone diggers and their accomplices will be presented and judged before competent judicial authorities in Betua.
And now we talk sports, football, and of course Cameroon is host to the Total Energy Africa Cup of Nations 2021 that you know already. On today's Road to AFCON 2021, we tell you that some of the countries coming to Cameroon to participate in the sporting jamboree will be sure to be in Cameroon without some of the key players of their squad or some of the key players of their teams. And of course, in today's edition of On the Road to AFCON 2021, we go digging to tell you some of the countries and the circumstances that led to them allowing some of their key players back home as they come to Cameroon. Sportsman Simat Njikan Gabriel.
As of the time of this report, a total of 17 players representing 10 countries qualified for the AFCON in Cameroon won't be able to play with their respective countries due to injuries. Cameroon's Jean Junior Onana, who was called up by coach Antonio Conceição da Silva Oliveira, might miss the tournament on home soil. The Girondin de Bordeaux midfielder picked up an injury that ruled him out of the pitch for 1 month, even though he is still maintained in the squad camping at the Mundi complex in Yaoundé. Nigeria's Paul Onuachu, who plays for Genk, was also left out of the final list of Austin Owen Eguavon due to a late injury. Meanwhile, the head coach of the Sili National of Guinea, Kaba Diawara, will also be missing out on 2 players, Florentine Popga, who is 31 years, and Antoine Conte, who were in the initial list published by Kaba Diawara, but unfortunately sustained injuries that ruled them out of the competition. Due to injuries too, the Stallion of Burkina Faso missed out on 2 pivotal players in the likes of Lassina Traoré and Brian Dabo, who could have played a key role in their country's participation at the AFCON. Aliou Cissé of Senegal was also unable to invite Crépin Diéta and Youssouf Sabali to the Teranga Lions den, preparing for the AFCON because of injuries. Countries like Zimbabwe lost 3 players through injury. Tunisia, even though some players are injured, which led to their non-selection, Aliou Cissé was courageous enough to invite Kalidou Koulibaly of Napoli and Ismaila Sarr of Watford in the delegation to Cameroon, though injured. These players are expected to miss out all group matches of Senegal with hopes that they will be set by the knockout phase if Senegal makes it through.
Still on sports, FECAFO's president Samuel Etofis has appointed Benjamin Banlock as the new Secretary General of the Cameroon Football Cameroon Football Association, that is FECAFO. Banlock replaces Parfait Siki, who's been occupying the post on an interim base for the past 7 months. 42-year-old Banlock Didier, is holder of a master's degree in strategic management. He's once been Secretary General of FECA Food between 2018 and 2021. Coming up is Talking Point. On today's Talking Points, we are receiving Fundo Ignacio.
Armstrong, good evening to Cameroonians who are watching at us right now. And I also send greetings and say Merry Christmas to Cameroonians who are Christians, and Happy New Year to Cameroonians, all the Cameroonians as a whole.
Thank you very much for that. We're going straight into one of the major news stories for the day is the sentencing of some CRM party officials. And we had yesterday the national treasurer of the CRM political party, the professor. He's a professor, Professor Alain Fougue. We had Bibu Nissa, spokesperson of Professor Maurice Kamto, the national president of the party, and another person, a top official. Today we had the president of the women's wing of the party also slammed 7 years. What's your reaction on that as a civil society actor?
The first thing I will comment is that these people who are sentenced are not military men nor women. And then I would like to continue, because the court that they were judged is a military court. It makes me to reflect behind around 2010 when the National Assembly was about to adopt this law. It was terrorism law. I quite remember SDF. They resisted this law very well because they started pointing out that this law is going to be used against the opposition. We are seeing the reality today after more than 10 years. So I would like to say that these people, normally, I don't know whether the people who are around, those in charge of this situation, I don't know whether they have advisors, because Cameroon is right now in a state where we're not supposed to take certain actions that would bring tension among Cameroonian citizens. Normally, the first thing, the court was supposed to allow this sentence they can to go after they can, before they can carry on these sentences, because there are periods that citizens are supposed to have this what we call one spirit.
Yes,
we have this period of football. Normally, without the football, Cameroonians are supposed to have that spirit of that attitude of one spirit, because without the football, it's a happy event. But before the football event, we are even having Cameroon faced with so many crises, yes, which means that it's our country. If it collapses, we will suffer, all of us, and it's progress we are going to enjoy. So we have to be very careful now. If I have to borrow words from some of our officials, like the former Minister of Communications, Issa Chiruma, recently the Minister of Minister Jean Didemomo, this statement have come from them that when we are in a ship where the ship is facing a situation where danger in the high sea, even the pilot was your enemy. The only thing you have to do at that time is to contribute ideas to you leave your misunderstanding aside, and you contribute ideas to the pilot so that you should save all of you
and all
those on board.
So
Cameroon today is,
they should have been conscious of
they should have been conscious of what we are facing now,
and not heighten tensions,
and not causing things that will bring tension,
that will bring Cameroonians together. Considering the fact that sport, especially football, is a uniting factor.
Football, first of all,
we need every Cameroonian to be in one spirit. To portray a positive image at a time where we are expecting all Africans in Cameroon.
You see, so this action like this is like, I don't really understand. It's like, if you want to ask me a question, I would, according to my own reasoning, I would say that it's like our government now, the regime and the government, the only thing they have now to do is how can I say intimidation, or how do I say
that's the word, that's the
force method. Yes,
intimidation is the word used by the PDP political party in a communique signed by a strong-worded release from the national president, Young Dennis. he talks about intimidation.
Intimidation is right. Reaction from the PAP party. This is what I expected Cameroonian opposition parties to be. You know, there have been some time. You know, the ruling party has gained ground in Cameroon because the opposition parties in Cameroon do not understand themselves. I expected this spirit to exist from ever since, because there are political parties that were really hot, that are going down now. You know, the opposition party, sometimes they were trying to bring but other political parties down. You see, when all of you are opposition and you are bringing the other one down now, you are reducing the pressure on the ruling party, the fighting pressure on the ruling party. This has made the ruling party to gain power to the level that they are going to rule us up to 40 years. So this reaction of the party, the prompt reaction from the party. I expect other political parties to do the same, and then they should continue in the same in the same spirit. We have to understand that in politics, you have to go there with the mind of either you win or you gain. You should not believe that the person that wins you tend to fight the person and forget the duty of the opposition party, because the PAP
political party in that same release did not only talk about the situation of CRM party officials. It went further to talk about that of some officials of Stand Up for Cameroon, some militants of Stand Up for Cameroon, which is a civil society movement, and some of them of the CPP political party. That shows that the PAP is also very concerned of what happens to some officials of some opposition political parties. It's actually what you are commenting.
Exactly, that's exactly what I'm commenting. And I also like I like the Stand Up for Cameroon. They have been going through persecution, but they are really standing up, as as the statement says, Stand Up for Cameroon. They really have the courage, and I encourage them to go on. Because,
and we must also say that it's a good move from you of the civil society also to be able to stand up with political parties when need be.
When it be, yes, that's why we have to campaign. We have to comment when burning issues like you just read the news. It is our duty, the citizens, to comment, because we are observers. We are observers to the services rendered by some distinguished citizens who are given some post of responsibility. You see, when we comment, it is from our comment, our action, that they can evaluate whether they are working well or not working well. That the civil society has a big role to play, and we stand behind some parties like the PAP and the Stand Up for Cameroon. But I'm not saying that civil society has become an enemy to the ruling party. But no, what we are doing is correction. And I believe that they are supposed to understand that they need to listen to the civil society also, because you cannot write examination and you mark it yourself, and then that you will not be able to defend the statement says that examination is true test of knowledge. Yes.
Fondo Ignatius Tebek, the 7-year jail term slammed on these key officials of the party, including a woman, National Women's Coordinator of the party. What impact socially could it have on Cameroon in the AFCON spirit, and on Cameroon at the end of the year and at the eve of a new year?
Fear. I don't even know the crime they committed to deserve this kind of punishment. I believe that in our law there's freedom of expression. We have that law as public manifestation, but if I know that the law, they are doing their duty, but the measurement is too high. The punishment is like revenge, because I know that a punishment should be like correction, but this punishment is now like revenge. It's just like you want to kill the person. I don't know the crime they committed to deserve this kind of so the impact is going to be total intimidation. So yeah,
and it's also important to note that most of them were arrested, and they spent about a year before the judgment actually being passed. And it is the same fate suffered by some persons. Majority of the people arrested within the context of the armed conflict working in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Many arrested, and they are detained for several months, and some for years before a judgment is passed.
It is the I don't know, at this level you know, there are times that we cannot more accuse the arm of the government, like the judiciary. Sometimes we have to accuse the whole, the regime as a whole. I see that something is really wrong, because something is wrong at that level. There are people who stay in prison for about 7 years without being judged. What is the what it doesn't mean that somebody is not doing his duty at this level. We cannot go into detail to look at those officials. We accuse the whole regime. It need to be revised. That here something is we are not comfortable with this.
I know when all this is happening, and you hear a coordinator of the Center for Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration of the Northwest Regional Chieftain Bamenda saying that some people in high places do not want to see an end to the Anglophone crisis. Do you see reason in his statement at a time when publicly officials, especially top government officials, have always indicated that they and the government are doing everything to see an end to the crisis?
Yes, I stand with the point, but even though I do not have any backing point proof to show really that there are people who are doing business, but when you see from the general context, you will see that the things are going in the way that comment is saying. Sometimes when in a situation of a conflict like this one, there are times that you see things begin to go normal without somebody doing something. I'm talking like there are some zones that after some time you realize that school, because the highest priority is school, you see schools are functioning. It is because of the statement of some of these our officials. They will come to the media, and the next statement that are using the schools functioning as they use schools as a weapon for victory. This provocative statement, sometimes the result is always a reaction from the separatists who believe that they are maybe they are trying to use schools as a factor to prove that they are weak. So, this world is a budget. That's why that is the only thing that makes me believe that there is a budget. Some of these officials, their budget that they manage, if really some of them it's very easy for somebody to pray that it should take cover some time, so that at least before the end of the conflict, he at least
would have constructed the house in the village also.
Because do you know why I'm saying like that? Because the budget is flowing, but there are necessary things that this budget needed to be doing, like the construction between Babaju and Bamenda, and even these people you just mentioned here in the
DDR center. They have not been integrated.
We only hear statements from the officiality.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you very much, Fundu Ignatius Tebek. You are a civil society actor. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so very much for staying close with us. We urge you to continue to stay with Equinoxe Television. We're not taking you to Yaoundé, we're leaving you, but shortly after this, you shall be having Equinoxe Soir with Sir Jalen Otto.